Yeah, and also I think that the speed map is important as well. So now let me show you the speed map. Yeah, so it will be a very competitive race in this year's Hong Kong Derby. So maybe talking about our selection, we just discussed that now there are 5 series contenders. They are AKA the Big Five. They are Romantic Warrior, California Spangle, Turin Western, The Irishman, and Senatoba. Apart from the Big Five, Sarah, who will you pick?
So outside the Big Five, I do like, I'm with Steve here on the 9, Rocket Spade. The New Zealand Derby winner coming in, putting the blinkers back on, first time since his win in New Zealand at the Derby. You know, obviously he has the stamina. He's proven at this, this distance and even further. I think we're going to see quite a performance on here. I do like that we are getting Ho back aboard this horse. Blake Shin's been giving him some great rides, but Ho just seems to have the best form with him as well. I just think this is going to be a good value play, and he could shock everyone. He's jumping out of barrier 5, which is perfect for this horse. If he can get a clean break, we're going to see quite a lot out of this horse. The blinkers is a big thing for me. I'm interested to see how he's going to race with these blinkers on. I mean, yes, he's done it before, but he hasn't done it in a long time. So my shot here, kind of a value bet of the Hong Kong Derby, is 9 Rocket Spade.
Yeah, I agree that it is interesting to see Rocket Spade will be putting on the blinkers for the first time, and hopefully this year will be helpful. And how about you, Wendy? Apart from the Big Five, who will you go for?
I'm going to go with Money Catcher, the New Zealand horse, just simply because I do think the Big Five have it here. I think there's, with the speed going up front, and I look at a horse that's, honestly, for the price, a horse that was just 2 lengths off California Spangle last time, a little out of distance. I mean, why not? It's more of a play of like that, because I do think it's a little bit top heavy, this race. So why not take a chance with that horse? So I'm going to go with Money Catcher, the 8.
Yes. Yeah, Money Catcher just had an impressive race last time out at the Classic Cup. And Steve, how about you? Who do you like outside the Big Five?
Well, as I've said, outside the Big Five, I like Rocket Spade's my selection anyway. And he was blinkered when he won the New Zealand Derby. So, and that was a year ago. So it is interesting that for the first time in 5 local runs, he's now on this next run here, he's going back to blinkers. So it could be a really interesting angle. And I think he will try and go out and keep out of trouble. I mean, if we know his stamina is there for all to see over 2,400, he could well push out from gate number 5 and make them all go. I think it's really interesting. Of the Big Five, I mean, I think California Spangle's drawn 10 now. It's going to be a test of that person. Poor old The Irishman's out in 13 again. And Turin Red Sun's nicely drawn. I think Senatoba's an interesting horse. I know he's very popular. And he ran in snatches the last time. He's kind of slow away. He never looks like he's really concentrating, does he? But if he gets into a rhythm and there's a good pace to aim at, I think he could do very, very well. And of course, there's a few others you could consider as well. I mean, I was doing a write-up about this race, and I was saying Nordic Sky, who's only rated 64, that it's good that he's actually away out in gate 14, away from trouble, which is actually doing him a disservice because he actually stayed on quite well behind California Spangle last time. He finished in front of some other horses. So, but yeah, an interesting race. I think that along with Joe, I think Romantic Warrior is the horse I like out of the top 5 because he ran a mighty race from a wide trip under Caris. And but for me, I think Rocket Spade could be the surprise package.
Yes, I'm looking forward to see that Vincent Ho can win the Hong Kong Derby again after the Golden 60 victory the year before. And Joe, how about you? What do you think?
I went a little outside the box here because I was thinking that since Romantic Warrior, or I think it was Romantic Warrior won from draw 1 back in the first leg of the Hong Kong Derby. I went a little bit outside the box. I went for Crossford So Crossford, if you look at the collateral form line with Crossford, he actually beat Turin Red Sun as a lower weight at the 1600. Another thing to consider, he's also raced on the all-weather track that is also two turns. So they start at the closer to the winning post. He didn't have a good run last time out. I think it was a prep, but he was drawn 11 against Champion Dragon. But Dawn Approach, if you look at the pedigrees, sort of the middle distance horse. So I think he could handle the 2000 meters pretty good. He is coming into form. He is climatized at Shatin already. And with the draw number 1, Wagner Borgs, I mean, look, you look at all the other jockeys and you're not going to think Wagner Borgs as somebody as a big jockey, but he's won on them, and he's won on them a couple times. So beating Turin Red Sun, beating Romantic Combo, Captain Win, Majestic Victory. So I think if he takes that draw number 1, I think if he could take advantage of it, I think he'll run a really sneaky race. So that's why I'm going to go with Crossford.
Yeah, I also think that Crossford is progressing quite well recently in Hong Kong. And Ian, how about you? Who do you think, apart from the big 5, do you like any outsider in the Derby this year?
I can only just share some inside news for you guys, because originally I asked Ruan Maya to ride SJ Tourbillon. Originally he said no because he thought that Nordic Sky, because he already booked for Nordic Sky before the announcement. But after that, I thought that the horse may not have good, high enough rating to get in. That's why he said, oh, then I can ride for your horse. But you can see that actually he already originally would like to ride for Nordic Sky. I think two stars ago, so he already booked for him. And then luckily, he just like get into this year's Derby with a rating of 64, even though he's the minimum, just like the minimum weight rating. But I thought, compared with his last few runs, he is gradually improving. He has a lot of racing experience, especially this season. And don't you remember his Group 1 winner in Brazil? Of course, we know that the standard may not high enough compared with other European forms. But I would say that Miller, actually, in his first training season, he already won the Derby with Keen Winner. So he knows how to prep a horse for a Derby. And I think that would be a very nice story if a horse actually is on the reserve 1 or 2 and then finally get into the race and won the Derby at the end. So I'm sure that Nordic Sky will be a long shot. But just I look at the odds 2 stars ago, his odds was smashing before the start. And last start actually is not a big odd at all. So I think this year's we may, and even draw 14 actually is not that bad. So we can just like, if you consider of the top 4, then Nordic Sky maybe can pull in.
Yeah, so it is really nice to see if Nordic Sky can have a good result in the Derby because of his rating. But we all remember that his victory in Brazil, he is already a great Group 1 winner. And for me, among the big 5, I will go for Senatoba because I respect his form as the only course and distance winner in the field. And for the outsider, maybe I will go for one of the Ian's horses, SJ Tourbillon. I think he is able to cause an upset, and I hope to see that Ruan Maya can have some good results on board this horse, because last year we saw the horse running 4th in the Dante, beaten by Hurricane Lane by 4.3 lengths, and then he ran 2nd in the Hampton Caustic. It was less than 2 lengths behind Mohaveth. I think SJ Tourbillon is quite a tough leader and progressing quite well in Hong Kong. Gate 12 will be a bit tricky, but maybe to say in another way, the wide draw may make him to try his very best to lead Ruan Maya on board, and which will be his best riding tactic to lead. So I think don't underestimate SJ Tourbillon from gate 12. So let's jump to our favorite part in our show. This time will be the world versus the beer garden for the best bet battle. And this time we are happy to have Ian representing the world and Sarah representing the beer garden, battling on the best win bet and the best quinella bet. So Ian, maybe I ask you first, who will be your best win win bet among the 10 race card at Charene on Sunday?
Actually, when I read the cards on Sunday, I think Douglas White's horse actually is quite good. So my best bet for win is the race 10, number 14, Astrologer. Because this horse, as a 3-year-old, and he can handle Happy Valley really well. I just heard from a very successful trainer. He loves to send the horses, especially the young horses, to race at Happy Valley to gain more experience. Then they would just learn quicker. And then when they are ready, they will send them back to Charene, a bigger track. And as you know, that this horse always causes upset. So he has been improving a lot. And based on his forms in Australia, and then you would really think that on his only first start, he already racing in the Good 3, and then the connections think that he's had a high regard on him. And this time, even though it's a Class 2 races, but he is getting very lightweight with I think the Ducky always used Keith Yearn to help him. So I think this time, draw 3, going back to Charene for the first time, I think as a 3-year-old, he can be something good in the future. So I think this horse would be quite a nice bet for the day.
Yes, right. I also think that Astrologer is an up-and-coming 3-year-old racing this time at Charene for the first time. Quite an interesting runner. And Sarah, how about you? Who is your best win bet?
Mine comes in at race 2, which is a Class 4 over 1,000 meters. And I'm going with the one here, Run Cool, who is dropping to a Class 4. He's ever since he came over to Hong Kong, they've thrown him into Class 3 races. And it's just, he's a bit hit or miss. He's had some decent runs over the Charene track, has some decent runs over Happy Valley, but I just think he does need to be dropped to get to more, race against horses that I think are more in line with his talent right now. He hasn't really raced at Charene since January. So we'll see. He got a 3rd to Metro Warrior, but it was a really good race. When you watch it, he really showed he's a horse that improves and improves and improves, hoping he continues a strong improvement here. I think that, like I said, that drop to a Class 4 and we get Zach Purton aboard. I think those two combinations right there could be, we could see this horse do amazing things. My biggest concern though in this race is that we have the 3 Kwan Star, who's jumping right out of barrier 2, who has a lot of gate speed as well. And I think that his speed out of the gate could cause some tension there with Run Cool jumping barrier 1, but we'll see. I think he can overcome it. Obviously Purton's extremely talented, but we'll see how he does. So that's the one, Run Cool in race 2.
Yeah, Run Cool, the class dropper in race 2, will be ridden by Zach Purton. Definitely worth a watch. So to recap the win best bet for Ian, that will be in race 10, number 14, Astrologer. And for Sarah, that is race 2, number 1, Run Cool. And then let's talk about your best bets for the quinella. And Ian, which horses will you include in your quinella bet?
So I'm not a fan of favorites, so that's why I'm sure that in race 1 there will be a favorite. It's John Sai's Animal, the first timer, because he trialed well and won brilliantly under Joe. But I'm just I hope he won't win, so then I can have a better quinella. So this time I'm going to pick in race 1 number 5, Internal Boom, number 7, Starry Night, number 9, Fortune Carrier, and also number 10, Super Highway. So I think these 4 horses may have a chance to have a quinella. First of all, number 5, Internal Boom. Actually, last time he was a first starter at Happy Valley. And I remember he received some support before the race start, and he missed the start, but he showed some late speed at the end, and was only beaten by 4 lengths. So I'm sure that this horse has improved from his track works. I saw his track works and he's a better focus. So this time getting a gate 1 would be a big help for a youngster. And then number 7, Starry Light. Actually, last time I bet him to win, and it was a little bit disappointed because I think look at his trials, I thought he can be more competitive. So maybe it's only his first start in Hong Kong. So hopefully he'll learn from that. And based on his performances in Australia, the trials, and also in Hong Kong, I think he's a horse that we can follow. But there's statistics we have to explain to all your readers that the new horses from David Hayes, if he did not perform well on the first start, normally won't happen in the second start too. So I hope that he can break the ice. And also, especially in the race one, there's a lot of young horses. I would pick number 9 Fortune Carrier, because this horse actually is more experienced. And last start actually is drawing gate 13 and just like all racing all wide all the way, but he still managed to finish third. I think he's a little bit improved. Of course, he's not a superstar in class 4, but I think maybe he will get a quinella or third place, so we can see. There will be a long shot, will be Super Highway. Actually, this horse attract quite support in the last 2 starts, and he is a bit immature. So, but last start he was late scratch, and we can see his trials that when he put on the chip piece, actually he run better. So this time maybe we can just like put him in as well. So my pick for race 1 would be number 5 Eternal Bloom, number 7 Starry Night, number 9 Fortune Carrier, and also number 10 Super Highway.
Yeah, so Ian is going to eliminate the favorites in the opener. So I'm quite sure that the value will be quite great. And how about you, Sarah? Who is your quinella bet?
My quinella, I'm going to race 10, the class 2 race. And I'll just start at the top here. I did with 11 Lucky With You. He's dropping to a distance I think is more suitable for this horse. He has the best form, I feel, over the course in this distance. Barrier 11, I think, just sets him up pretty nicely. I am taking Astrologer as well. Astrologer is a horse that when I bet him, he doesn't win. And when I don't bet him, he shocks everybody. So at this point, I was like, I'm going to have to play him here. He is coming in at the lightest weight. We could see that being a big advantage here. Novice to the 12, I'm also taking here with Ruin Maya. This is just an interesting horse. He's jumping out of barrier 14. This horse, he's tricky. He got, 3 wins back-to-back at Charene over the 1,400 meters. Now this race is 1,200 meters. And he just, last race out at the 1,600, I just don't think he is much more distance than 14. So we'll see him drop to that 1,200 meter. I think it's going to be a nice comeback, maybe build that horse's confidence back up. And I'm assuming how he does with this race, they'll bring him back to the 1,400. And then the 7, Keep You Warm, who has Alexi Bedell aboard. He's jumping on a barrier 9. He hasn't raced at Charene for quite some time. And when he was showing great form and great consistency over the track. So I'm interested to see how he's going to come back to Charene. I hope he has such strong form as he was showing. He's racing against a lot of familiar company, so he knows what he's up against. I think Alexi Bedell is going to give him a really great ride here. He's been on this horse for quite some time, so he knows how to maneuver this horse. There's some good value here. So with this quinella, I think, even if, one of these lower price horses hit, there is enough value within the quinella to hopefully see a good price. So my quinella to recap is in race 10. That is the 11 Lucky With You, 14 Astrologer, 12 Navas 2, and 7 Keep You Warm.
Yeah, it is great to see that Sarah's quinella bet, including Ian's best bet Astrologer. So hopefully both of you can win in the final race. So that's great. And this is the end of the Beer Garden Hong Kong Derby special. Once again, thank you, Ian, for your time today. Wish you all the best on Sunday.
Thank you.
Yeah, so good luck, everyone, and let's enjoy the big day. See you next time. Bye-bye.